another characteristic of the light is the regular and diffused reflection. Imagine that parallel rays are incident on an irregular surface. The laws of reflection are valid at each point of the surface. The ray of light can not always fall on a plane surface. When it will fall on a plane surface or when it falls on a rough surface, then the law of reflection will always be correct. Whether the rays are falling on a rough surface, if we imagine that parallel rays are falling on a rough surface and they are falling on a smooth surface, then the angle of incidence will always be equal to angle of reflection. This is seen in these are the two conditions, and in both the conditions you are seeing that the parallel rays are incident on an irregular surface. So in the first picture, the rays of light which are shown, they are parallel, so they are called the incident rays. These are the incident rays which are falling on the mirror and they are shown parallel. When these rays of light fall on the surface, they are reflected in different directions. One ray is reflected in this direction, this second ray is reflected in another, third ray is reflected in this direction, this ray is reflected in another direction. So all the rays are reflected in different directions. Why does this happen? Because if we see, let's take the first image, the first ray of light as the ray 1. When this ray of light falls on the surface, it is reflected in this angle, because if at the point we draw a normal, this normal will make the angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection, because the surface is at a particular angle. If you take the second ray, let's take the ray number 2 which is shown here. If you take the second ray which is shown here, then the surface is tilted at an angle. So this ray of light is reflected in this way because the angle of incidence will be measured with the help of a normal. So if we make a normal here, then again in this case also the two angle of incidence and the angle of reflection will be same. So the angle of incidence and angle of reflection law is applicable in regular as well as irregular surfaces. When all the parallel rays reflect from a plane surface are not parallel, then the surface is called diffused. That means the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection, the angle of incidence, the incident rays were parallel. If the reflected rays are not parallel to each other, then it is called diffused reflection. In this picture, the rays of light are showing regular reflection. On the other hand, reflection from a smooth surface like that of a mirror. So this picture is showing a mirror here and it is producing regular reflection. That is why the incident rays which are shown here, they are parallel. These incident rays are parallel to each other and the reflected rays are also parallel to each other. So this shows that this surface is having regular reflection. So what is the difference between regular and irregular reflection or diffuse reflection? When the incident rays are parallel and they are reflected parallel to each other, then it is regular reflection. When the incident rays are falling on a plane surface and they are not reflected parallel, then it is called diffused reflection. So which type of surfaces are most commonly found? Most of the surfaces around are irregular surfaces. So do we see all the objects due to reflected light? The objects which we see around, they are because of the light which is falling on them. So most of the light which is falling on the surfaces, most of the surfaces around us, they are not smooth, they are irregular. So irregular surfaces spread the light in different direction. That is why the light scatters in different direction and they are seen. So the earth is said to be irregular. That is why light falls on the surface of the earth and it is scattered in different direction. This scattered light makes things visible to us clearly. The light which enters inside any room or any surface, that those walls of the room are also not smooth. They are not regular. If the walls of any surface are smooth or regular, then the light will be scattered in one direction. So what will happen? One area of the room will be more bright, whereas the other area will be completely dark. So this will not make us to observe things clearly. So it is because of the diffused light we are able to see things.